Welcome back to Corner Stories. Please enjoy the stories of the day. Hit that like and subscribe button and let's get on to story 1. I can't believe I even had to write that title out. We have been together 8 years, engaged for 6 months. We have had problems connecting lately due to a host of underlying issues, his drug and alcohol problems, and I dealt with seasonal affective disorder over the winter. A week ago we went on a trip to get away and rekindle our love blah blah blah, and I thought we were getting on the right track. However, since we got back, both nights he's stayed out past 3 a.m. on a work night, and I've had my suspicions that he started doing coke again, which he promised me he wouldn't. So I snooped, I know, his computer iMessages because they sync up with his phone messages. And yes, he was texting with his dealer and sending pics of him doing coke to his friend Greg. But then I noticed the texts to Greg were weird, like heart emojis and, I miss you, so I kept scrolling and there were all these explicit texts and him telling this girl he loves her, obviously Greg was a fake name, and how much he despises me. And honestly, all this shocking stuff, I still believe I'm in some kind of nightmare. He's been sending her thousands of dollars, and based off their conversations, she's not the only escort he's been sleeping with and he hasn't been using protection. The kicker is I've been helping him pay rent, and sending him money here and there because of cash flow issues with his business. And he has cash flow issues because of the prostitutes. I don't know why I'm posting this here, maybe because I'm too embarrassed to confide in anyone I know. Maybe hoping to hear how other people have gotten through similar situations. He's going out of town next week for work, aka to meet up with this escort, and I'm planning on just moving out without saying anything. I also plan on telling his dad what's going on since it's his father's business and he's taking company money to pay for sex. I also think I should tell his dad about the drug abuse because he's going to kill himself with the path he's on. Coke, Adderall, Xanax, booze, any other substances in the vicinity. I actually hate him to my core right now but don't actually want him dead. Sorry for the stream of thought wall of text, it's just 3 a.m. and I can't sleep and I feel so blindsided and hoping if I ever fall asleep I'll wake up and this never happened. Relevant comments Big Greg 7288 Damn, that's pretty low down. You obviously know what needs to be done. Take a STD test to make sure you're clean and get rid of this guy. 8 years and he's sleeping with prostitutes and doing coke. He clearly doesn't care about his life, don't let him ruin yours as well. OOP, yep, getting tested is number 1 on my list to do. And thank you, I can't believe I wasted 8 years for this to be the end. I can't have him ruin my life any longer. Big Greg 7288 I hear you on the time wasting. Look at it as a lesson on what not to tolerate from now on. OOP, true, definitely changing my ways moving forward, and at least we never went through with a wedding, thank you COVID. Update, 3 years later, February 11, 2024. This is an update to a post I made almost 3 years ago. Oh wow, I had completely forgotten about this throwaway account I made and just stumbled back on it. As someone who hates when people don't provide updates, cause I'm nosy, sorry I never provided one. Also, rereading my prior post, it sounds so fake. I'm starting to realize half the crazy posts I think on Reddit are fake actually are probably real, lol. Anyways, on to the updates nobody asked for, and honestly as it's been almost 3 years at this point it feels like a lifetime ago and I can't believe that was my life, so sorry if details are a little glossed over. For starters, in hindsight, finding out about the cheating was the best thing that ever happened to me. I have weird anxious thoughts about the alternative timeline me who never discovered any of this and stayed in that relationship. After I found out, the next day I went and got STD testing, all clear, and the nurse was actually the first person I told about what happened. I immediately started the process of moving out, emailed landlord separately to let them know we would not be renewing. Luckily we only had like 2 months left. Since he was leaving in a couple days to go out of town for work, I decided to just suck it up and play it cool till he left. Once he left I packed up all my stuff, hired a moving company to keep my things in storage until I figured out where I wanted to live, and booked a flight out to California to stay at a hotel on a beach with my dog, and I have family out there. I'm actually pretty close with my family, but I did this all on my own because I just wanted to process things on my own, and wanted to ugly cry in peace. The day my ex was supposed to return to our apartment, I did end up contacting his parents to let them know what was up so they could meet him there, mainly cause I was afraid he would do something drastic once he saw I was gone. I ended up staying in California for a couple of months with my sister, until I decided to move back to my city mid-summer. I didn't love living out of a suitcase and wanted to make a new place for myself. After initially staying no contact, me and my ex did start texting again, was not healthy, and probably due to some level of codependency. He got into therapy and went sober, although he refused to go to AA or anything. The whole time he thought we would eventually get back together, but I was adamant that we would never, although thought we could be friends, lol. Eventually we had to stop talking because he got pissed that everything he was doing wasn't making me want to get back together with him, and occasionally he would blame me for why he cheating in the first place, classic. Oh, and he started drinking again. Trigger warning for the next paragraph. The last straw was that fall, when he texted me he had drank a bottle of vodka, plus a full bottle of Xanax, and he'd see me in the next life. He ended up getting to the hospital on time, and after having his stomach pumped was fine, but this was a very traumatic event for me. After everything was handled I blocked his number, probably should have happened from the start, but I don't know codependency shit. That saga more or less ended back in November 2021, so flash forward over 2 years later and some present day updates, I'm a completely different person, to where my family is shocked. I hadn't realized how much that relationship was affecting me negatively. I used to truly be a glass half empty person to the core, and now I'm so easygoing, happy, glass half full type of gal, and I lost like 40 pounds, not that losing weight is always a good thing, but in my case it was. I'm 33 now, and to all the ladies out there afraid of starting over in their 30s, don't despair. I have been dating my amazing boyfriend for 2 years now, who is actually perfect for me. My ex and I were opposites. He was a chaotic wild card, grumpy, and really not a kind or considerate person, really embarrassed why I was dating a person like this. My current boyfriend is so chill, has such a calming presence, and is the kindest and most thoughtful person I've met. We have not had a single fight in the 2 years we've been together and are just very respectful of each other, something that at the core my last relationship lacked. My ex seems to be doing fine, hasn't changed much from what I hear through the grapevine. We don't really talk, but I wish him the best. Relevant comments. Congratulations for getting free from him. Your ex will never change, it doesn't even sound like he wants to change. OP thanks. I think at the end of the day, as they say, people really don't change. Even myself, while I seem like a different person, I think I am the same at the core, just a happy version now that I'm not weighted down by all the stress and negativity of my prior relationship. Comment. Congrats on your new life. Can you tell us about how you met your current partner? Reddit says your last post was 2 years ago, so it's reading like you basically jumped into this relationship immediately after splitting with your ex, which obviously is whatever because it's worked out for you. But like you said, we nosy. OP, the Reddit date is actually a little confusing. My last post was actually March 17, 2021, worst St. Patrick's Day ever lol, so it should probably say 3 years once we get to that date. I first started dating again like 6 months later just to put myself out there. I had never done any of the online app dating as I had been with my ex since we met in college. I definitely was probably not emotionally ready when I started dating, but I also wasn't looking for anything serious. I ended up meeting my now boyfriend on Bumble a little while after that. I don't think either of us were looking for something serious. He was under the impression he was moving for work, he ended up not moving, and I had just gotten out of this crazy long-term relationship. Because of that, we took things semi-slowly at first, and then ended up becoming exclusive official in February 2022. Story 2. I don't have concrete proof for this, and I haven't told anyone about my suspicions either. Maybe I'm just being crazy, but I can't keep this to myself any longer. I usually live with my mom, but she had to temporarily move in with my grandparents because of grandpa's health. I've been staying with my dad since last month. I actually don't really know him, and he's kind of an asshole. He lives with my aunt and cousins. I don't really know them either, and my cousins are all younger than me, so we don't really spend time together. I notice that my dad treats my male cousin very different than he treats my female cousins. He pretty much only pays attention to him and doesn't seem interested in interacting with the girls. It might just be because he's a boy. But I noticed that most of their interactions involve touching of some sort and that my dad almost always initiated it. I also caught him watching my cousin on multiple occasions, which isn't anything weird, but the look on his face was making me a bit uncomfortable. My cousin often wants my dad to play in his room with him, and they usually always close the door. A few days ago I was walking past my cousin's room and heard my dad telling my cousin that he would show him something soon, but that he has to promise not to tell anyone. The way he was saying it just gave me the ick. I really want to tell my aunt about this, but I've only been here for a little over a month. What if that's just how they normally interact and there's nothing bad going on? Maybe I'm just reading everything wrong, but I'm just getting a bad vibe out of it. Comments. How old is your cousin? OP, he's 5, his sisters are 8 and 10, and I'm 16. Update. I made a post on Sunday evening about my dad's strange behavior towards my 5-year-old cousin. After I got home from school on Monday, I called my mom and told her everything I had noticed. She asked to speak to my aunt. I don't know the details of that conversation, but they talked for almost an hour. Afterwards my aunt just handed me back my phone and went upstairs. I didn't follow her, but she came down about half an hour later with my cousin. He was crying uncontrollably and she looked close to tears as well. She sat him down on the couch and asked if I could watch him. She went upstairs again while I tried to calm down my cousin. She came back with my dad's laptop and a box, then she called the police. When my dad came home from work they arrested him. They confiscated a few more things and asked us to give our statements. We went to the station this morning to give a more detailed statement. There was a social worker who tried to speak to my cousin but he refused to talk to her. He hasn't said anything at all since yesterday, and my aunt has been discussing different therapist options with the social worker. I think the worst part about this whole situation is that my aunt and my mom already knew what my dad was like. When we got home I asked my aunt how she found the evidence in my dad's room so fast, and she confessed that she'd known he had it all along, but he had promised her to stay away from her children. I also called my mom again to give her an update, and she said she found the pictures on my dad's laptop shortly after I was born, which is the reason they broke up. On the bright side, my grandpa is doing much better, so she and I can move back home soon. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to connect with each other in the comments below. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and I'll catch you in the next video. Corner Stories signing off.